Hey guys, Nolan and Jason again with Plumbing Webmasters.
Howdy.
So today is dangers of AI content and or sloppy plumbing content. So we're going to review a couple of topics like sloppy could mean no content, copied content, AI content.
Badly written content,
Yeah,
gobbledygook.
yeah, and then we'll go into ranking and organic map versus organic keyword ranking and blogs. So I guess first off, let's just talk about AI content. When did it start kind of coming on the scene?
About a year ago, it actually hit a point where if someone, previous to that, if someone did AI generated content, it was really obvious. It was like bizarre and unintentionally hilarious when you'd read it. But about a year ago, a couple of AI content tools got to the point that if you fed it good examples and said, spit me out a page on this many words on this subject, it would read like it was human generated.
Right.
It actually looked pretty good.
Maybe just barely over a year ago.
Yeah.
It started coming out. There's a couple of, we don't need to mention the company, but there's a couple of companies that push this stuff. And one thing I want to say to a plumber listening or a contractor listening is that you don't know if they used it or not.
Right.
Because it reads like a college-educated American wrote content.
I mean, we had a really smart guy at our company evaluating it.
Yeah.
And he was like, actually, this looks pretty good.
It looked logical.
He actually said this is better than some of the writers.
It looked logical. Yeah. And that's not because there's human error.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not a slight against that. But so one thing that somebody needs to understand in all this is that 98% of who you call to do organic optimization, which is the big show, which is where all the best leads are, where your branded web presence is, 98% of the people have very little knowledge, very little skill sets, and very little resources. And they try to sell like organic combined with paid.
Almost always.
And they will sub out even companies that look big. I mean, we had one the other day, and I think the guy was a plumber, and they were just fleecing him. He didn't even have a website yet. It was 7 months in. They were selling him a bill of goods.
Jeez.
But wherever you are in your journey with like digital marketing, these people were saying, the people that we got to build the website didn't do it. So 7 months in, he's paying for empty, just lies about map ranking. And we'll talk about map ranking too in a minute, but they didn't have a website because they didn't have anybody on staff. There's like 25.
Folks, it does not take 7 months to build a website.
No, you can.
Unless you are building the next Amazon.
Well, let's define that though, because you can get a really crappy website out in no time, or you can go build one yourself overnight. But if he's talking about us building a website with dozens of pages in it, handwritten, hand coded, without buying a template.
Right.
We can usually do that within 2, 3, 4 weeks range.
Yeah.
And have one of the best websites out that'll get a good grade by Google. But when you go pay somebody, you don't know what they're doing, and 95+% of the time, they're getting freelancers and other people out of the country to write stuff, and they are not skilled enough to know if those people are then feeding them AI content.
Right.
Let us blog. We have to test
because a lot of times they're going to a content farm service,
right?
Who use AI, who use a bunch of people in a hut in the Philippines, and that's not an exaggeration, by the way. Literally.
Roosters crowing.
Yeah, roosters crowing in the background.
Roosters crowing in the background. These are experiences we've had.
Yeah, and like you said, they're using templates, prepaid templates for design. It used to be a thing for years. Every time Nolan was on the phone with a prospect, he would send me their current website and say, "Evaluate this for me, please." Yeah, and I'd evaluate for him, give him some bullet points of what was wrong with it. And 99% of the time, this is a prepaid template. You can get it at this website. And there were times that you would tell people that, and they'd be like, "They told me this was a custom design."
Well, they always tell them that, and there's a reason I quit asking you. But like,
Well, the answers were always the same.
The
You
answers are-
asked me and you asked me anymore.
99% of you guys all have the same problems on some varying degree.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to
I could have copied and pasted my notes most of the time.
Yeah, I did it for like a year or two, and then I'm
you
like,
did it for like 5 years.
Yeah, and I'm
You
like,
did it forever.
Yeah, because you want to do a good job when someone asks you a question, and nowadays I know every answer, and I'm like, I don't need to ask anybody. But we don't. We have people on staff and employed, people out of Texas, Americans, and this isn't because I'm necessarily pro anything or pro human being in this case over AI, but if you don't get this level of service, you will get a bad grade from Google.
Right.
And you will not show up in ranking. In fact, you'll get penalized by the Google helpful content update.
Hey.
Yeah, I always want to call it the good content. I swear it was called good content originally, or at least I heard it that way.
There were 2 different updates. Maybe you're thinking of a different, because they had a couple of them rapid fire.
Anyway, so you've got to have the stuff hand done, and you won't know. And honestly, most of these other agencies, they won't know. And even if we get even inside our own organization, to keep people from just, having the urge to do it, we have to check our own content.
Yeah, our editor runs an AI content checker.
We have to
whenever
check
anything
against
is turned in. Yeah.
AI and copyright.
Yeah.
So
every page that goes out.
It used to just be copyright check to make sure it wasn't duplicate. Y'all know, even if the company owns the content, so Google doesn't know if someone stole content. I guess this is why they do it this way, because they don't know if content was stolen, but someone could have written the same content, work for Plumbers, and have duplicate pages. And it's not a technical copyright violation, but it still violates Google's copyright violation because it's duplicate, or at least a duplicate content violation. I don't know if Google calls it copyright at that point. But
they just call it duplicate content. Google doesn't involve themselves in the legal aspect of it. Just in the originality.
But the reason they involve in originality is so that they don't get in copyright problems.
Right.
So you got to have real content written by a human being, not have it duplicate or copyrighted violations in order for you not to get penalized by Google. All those things.
If they see it's duplicate, they just flat out won't rank you for it.
Yeah.
They'll ignore that page entirely. And the way they look at it is, if they look at it and someone else had that content on the web anywhere before you posted it, then it's duplicate and they ignore it.
So we'll go through, if I see a website that looks large, I'm talking to a plumber, they got over 50 pages. The first thing you do is go check copied content. And now the second thing you do is go check AI content.
Right.
So if someone's got a lot of content, we're talking about this on another podcast, but if you've got too little content, that's bad. If you've got too much content, that's also bad.
That's probably also bad.
Probably bad.
If you got a local plumbing business and you had someone do your website and they churned out 300 pages of content, blog entries or whatever, they probably copied it or AI'd it or cheated.
And even if they didn't,
way.
that much blog content is nonsense for a plumber to have, and it'll have a penalty against the Google,
even if you paid somebody over the course of several years and they actually did the hard work and hand wrote all those pages for you and did the best job they could, it's still probably a bad idea because it's so much garbage content at this point.
Nolan Walker here for Data Pins. You may not know, but I own a software company, and we have a proprietary software called Data Pins, DATAPINS. You can search it at datapins.com. This is not white labeled. I actually own this piece of software, and I made it for you. It was made for contractors. You can actually take pictures of jobs, up to 6, make a caption about the material, the brand, the situation, the repairs, and post that back to your individual pages on your website, just like that. It's super simple. Anyone could use it. It also texts and emails your clients direct links to your reviews, so it helps reputation and reviews, which helps conversion and map placement. The geo coordinate gets grabbed Buy data pins, and Google can tell where you are. So instead of them just seeing reviews, they see all jobs or even estimates that you do. This vastly outperforms just getting reviews. Helps the map show up, helps organic keywords. And remember, those captions that you're putting in there help expand the keywords per page, and it's great regular content. I love it. We made it just for you. It is organic optimization on steroids for both your website, your rankings, and the map placement. Check out data pins. I think you'll be happy you did. So people understand this. So when this Google helpful good content stuff came out, it's when they dinged AI.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they kind of took a slant against the blogging for the first time, like a hard slant. It was already kind of there.
We'd been seeing it. We'd been seeing severely reduced effectiveness of blogging for local SEO.
For a
if
year
you're talking
and a half
about if
or
you're talking
two.
about blogging for national SEO, where someone's running a blog where they're doing like news and they're trying to get ad revenue
Correct.
from visits to the site, that's a totally different animal.
It is.
But this is just doing blogging to get SEO ranking for a local business. We had seen it not working well for a while, and then with the recent updates, they really took a hardline stance.
Yeah. So you actually see a site not ranking.
Yeah.
And then if you don't know where to go check, you won't even know if you have it. You can't really tell. Sometimes we still see basic stuff like somebody has 30 city pages and it's all duplicated with the city changed out.
Yeah.
Or it's very obviously nearly duplicated.
You know, the other thing we've seen in some cases is it used to be that if you could get a couple of, like if you could write a blog that somehow went viral, that ranking on that page would lift up the whole site.
Right.
And that doesn't really work anymore. They zero in now. And we had a client come in recently that he had this a lot of traffic for a local business, like way out of profile.
I remember this, yeah.
And then when we looked at it, he had 2 blog entries accounting for all of his traffic, and the rest of his site got almost nothing.
Right.
And those 2 blog entries didn't drive. They weren't marketing or business oriented. They were like trivia.
Right.
And so they had no effect on his business whatsoever, but he saw the traffic number and it made him happy.
It's not always so there's 2 types of people that get this done. So they want a good effort, and they're trying to pay for more content and a better website. They get AI content, or they're kind of spammy by nature. They're driving. They're like,
just do more.
Yeah, do more. I've heard this is helpful, and they start kind of demanding it. You know. And someone's like, well, I get a blog each week or twice a week. And I'm like, wow, that's been like 5 years, you know.
We don't do them at all.
And you've got like hundreds and hundreds of blogs, and we're pretty sure you're getting penalty off of it. And frankly, so if you think you had this, you can call us. We'll go over it. We'll fix it. So what would happen? I wasn't planning on going into this, but why not go into it? What you do is go into your website and see if the pages have search volume. And if they don't have search volume, you might take like a 200 page website down to like 70 pages.
We did this recently.
We do it all the time.
We had a client come in that he had like, what did he have? Like 700 pages or something.
Oddly, I've run into more of them recently, and I don't, but they were disappearing, and now I've run into more of them.
Yeah. And he had like 700 or 800 pages, and we looked at them, and something like only 60 of the pages accounted for all the traffic on the site.
Right.
And there was hundreds of pages that were just the Google was not even indexing at this point. They were
I think I remember this one because I
down.
thought they had 200 or 300 pages, but they actually had 700 or 800. But
Because
when you go do an index on it to see how many pages are in there, Google basically is like, we're not even going to cache or copy these.
They're such crap. We're
ignoring them and not even making a copy of them. And so when you went actually and looked at the website, it actually had more content in there. And so it gets pared down, and then you take all that out, redirect it, and then Google, and then you do an SEO overhaul, what's left, build a new website, new code base, new content, add pages. They're usually missing pages still because it's all crap content.
They had hundreds of blogs that were useless, and they were missing
service.
actual service pages.
Yeah, so they won't have a page for front yard line lake or tankless or whatever it is. You know, they'll be missing the main stuff they needed. And so you add a few, you overhaul, you take some of those pages out, redirect them, and the Google will come back and spider it and go, oh, that's nice.
That's much better.
Thank you. And then you'll like, okay, all this crud's gone. We're going to release any of these penalties. going to give a little bit more credit. They've done all this new URL structuring and better content structuring, and then give credit. And then we didn't know they did tankless. We didn't know they did, leak location or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We didn't know they did gas lines. And so they'll go through and spider all the new stuff, give credit where credit is due for a better built site, all the crud being gone. And then you're on a better path and relationship with Google,
Right.
not trying to throw in a bunch of trash. But on an AI basis, I honestly don't think that the client knows it all.
Oh no, I half the like that you kind of said this before. I think half the time that the agency they're using doesn't know. The agency has jobbed out the content to a content farm,
right,
who is doing it with AI in a lot of cases now.
The guy that had paid 7 months and didn't even have a website, that was being promised that their map would show up in ranking, they were still being dangled that carrot that website was going to come. But I was shocked that they didn't have. That was an agent.
Like he had no website at all. Like
he had his old website up.
Wow.
They'd never worked or touched it. And
what were they doing?
They were doing some weird old school linking of a link to their actual Google entry, which has been shown not to work for like years and years. God. So they were linking to the GBP, and they were doing some citations and other stuff. So they'd artificially conflated the domain authority of a new site to like a 10, the page authority to like a 20, or something like that. And then they were actually linking into the GBP, which is like really spammy link techniques.
Yeah.
Couldn't even produce a website. One thing I do want to say on this note is that AI content's bad, but content is not bad. Right. Copied content is bad, but content is not bad. You actually need properly written content.
Yeah, content's absolutely essential.
But
it's got to be done right.
Makes the map show up, makes the other keywords show up. Nolan Walker here with Plumbing Webmasters. I'd like for you to consider becoming a client. We have a lot of great people that work here at the company. We help hundreds of clients. We've done this for 12 years now. We help clients dominate online. We're a digital marketing agency. I honestly don't think there's anyone better than us at this point in time. We'll help you with your design, your code, your content. We'll help you rank on Google Maps. We'll help you reputation reviews organically. We even have proprietary software that I own in a different company called DataPins, DATAPINS. DataPins allows you to post pictures of jobs with captions and geo coordinates right onto the website. It'll take 90 seconds. A 12-year-old could use it, but you'll be able to post daily and get daily activity. Great content. It even posts it back to your Google account. It even texts and emails the client. So one simple thing where you pick a couple of photos you took, wrote a caption, put in the client's cell phone number and hit pin, and boom. And then that is in addition to all the other things that we do for you for SEO. We can also help with paid ads and other things too. But man, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call. You can check us out at plumbingwebmasters.com. So we talk about content, copied, AI. Let's talk about ranking. So without the tankless water heater page, you don't rank for the tankless water heater page on maps usually, or organic map or organic keyword. I'm going to start calling it organic map because people miss this so badly.
Yeah.
Most people listening to content aren't so one-sided about map, probably. I actually guess that this will get a little less viewership because we're talking about content.
Right.
Everybody they think they want map only. But map doesn't show up without content.
Map flows from content. That's the only reason you get it. Everything on Google is organic unless you paid per click or per call.
That's a good word. Map flows from content. You sound kind of like a SEO whisperer. Yeah. The SEO whisperer. Yeah. So if you don't have this, your map won't organically populate properly. You're just not going to show. They're not going to guess that you perform, descaling or outside yard line leaks or camera line scoping, or you've got to have a page of content for that, for the map or the keywords under the map, or the map doesn't show up, the organic keywords should show up.
If you're a plumber, the stuff that without service pages, the stuff they might give you is clogs, leaks. What else you think? Like the really basic
plumbing repair, emergency plumbing, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if they'd give you that, but they're not going to guess that you work.
I've seen some evidence that they won't give you emergency plumbing if you don't declare it or say you're 24/7.
Clogs, I think, is only if you have the word router or some entity word
Really?
in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's even more specific.
I think so. Yeah, you can get pigeonholed under user intent combined with LSI combined with entity under the word router.
Hmm.
Router
Okay.
is restrictive potentially for a plumber.
Yeah. Yeah.
Repair
We've seen
keywords.
plumbers who were like one of the router or something, and they have trouble getting outside
For
that.
the entity genre of words for all of them.
Yeah.
You know, we segued, but guys, I want to say this: if you don't understand that, that's why you need professional services.
Give us a call. We'll
Yeah,
explain it.
we help you with all this sort of stuff. Your mapping flowing from content, that's how it works. You've got to have proper content, properly done, properly maintained. You got to have stuff like data pins, extra content, data pins, and captions on relevant pages instead of trashy blog entries where you think you're going to trick Google and contrive keywords within the content to get a click.
Yeah. Because you having 50 pins saying I perform this specific service in this specific place, and each of those pins is like maybe 20 words or less, is far more valuable than 100 blog entries say that are 10 things to do to prep your home for winter this year.
Yeah.
Or you know.
And it could be slightly better than that and still crud.
Yeah.
You know, still something that nobody wants to read in their right mind.
Yeah. But the thing is, the people who do blog writing just for SEO, they go for listicles and other stuff that works on that national basis, like we talked about, that gets a viral hit or whatever, but none of it helps your actual ranking for your business.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't help your local. It's non-relevant to local search and local user intent.
Yeah.
In fact, it makes for a poor user experience.
Right.
Yeah. So which nowadays with new Google content updates could get you penalized, and probably will get you penalized if you roll hard down the blog road.
Yeah.
And let's define that as like 30 nonsense blogs or more.
Yeah.
That's enough, right? To cause some traction.
Yeah, I fielded a call last week from a client saying, "Hey, can we start getting a blog every week?" I'm like, "We don't do blogging." And I laid out why. I said, "There's a really good reason. It's not useful. It's not going to help, and it may actually hurt. This is what you should be doing."
Yeah.
And he listened to his friend.
Were they doing pens?
He hadn't been doing many because he didn't.
Captions?
He even after being spoken to about it. One of the struggles we
Old client. This is an older client.
And a lot of time, even sometimes
not
with younger
not older
clients,
age, but been with us longer.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But even with new clients and stuff, there's a lot of time that they equate the data pins with the review.
Right.
And they still think the review is the only thing.
Right.
It's like, no, the review is important. Don't ever mistake our intent on that. But the pin itself, even without a review, provides a lot of value. That's why we built it.
Right.
And
with the caption.
With the caption and everything else. I had another one that I was doing a monthly report, and a bunch of his recent pins he had done. Now this was a roofer, but he had done the single word inspection. He'd done his picture, he'd done his location, but he just did inspection. And I said, I always give pointers on these reports saying, hey, this is how you can improve.
Yeah.
And I said, inspection, that's a good keyword to have, but it as a single word standing
for
alone.
What? For why?
Yeah,
of
it
what?
lacks context.
Atlas shingles, roof inspection for farmer's roof
Roof,
insurance claim.
Roof inspection for hail damage. Because we had a big storm come through this week.
Right.
We had tornadoes about 3 miles from this office earlier this week.
So for a plumbing perspective, an example of proper caption that would masterfully integrate content into relevant pages inside a website we would build. It's a simple 60-second process. Somebody might write something like just at a replaced Renai tankless water heater. It could be as simple as that. Or one that I like that somebody did was installed ice maker shutoff valve and supported it, which I think just means they put a bracket up. Yeah. So in both cases, Google knew that they did tankless water heaters on the one site, but didn't know they did Renai tankless.
Right.
Then the guy starts showing up for Renai tankless on long tail keywords, which is 50% of all search. Like low search volume words is half of all search. so you can expand your content properly and into areas you never had. And the other side, the guy actually had a shutoff valve page because he was in a major market. We made a shutoff valve page for him. But Google absolutely has no idea what types of shutoff valves he does. And then I think that caption, as I recall, was from September of 2020.
Yeah.
The following year, he did 2 more about ice maker shutoff valves, and he shoots to #1 for ice maker shutoff valve repair, replace, install.
With only 3 total pins on the subject.
Yeah. And he did 1 pin, and then gets 2 more jobs out of it.
Yeah.
And he may not have made much, but he made a new contact, and that works for big jobs and whole house repiping and types of plumbing and all kinds of other stuff too.
Right.
It works for all the different types of keywords, but that's proper content, you know. So we're masters of proper content beyond. Who does content better than we do? Like we're on a whole different level.
I can't think of anybody. No.
Yeah, there isn't. There really isn't anyone at this point.
Yeah.
Not anywhere near what we do in content.
When we do content for our sites, we're trying to, and this is a big thing people don't get when it comes to local SEO. Is you're supposed to be answering a question. Right. You're supposed to be answering 2 questions. What do you do? Where do you do it?
Right.
That's it. That's local SEO. What do you do? Where do you do it? If you answer those questions clearly and specifically over and over, that's ranking.
And yeah, where do you do? What do you do? It. Signal that regularly. And make
in a multitude of ways.
And make us feel comfortable with your brand.
Right.
Yeah, and all that's wrapped in with everything we do all the time.
Yeah.
And that is the essence of your company's brand and your ability to show up in either map ranking, reputation reviews, or organic keyword ranking, all of it being organically driven, signal driven.
Right.
Anyway, all right. Good enough, right? Guys, if you have questions, call us, like and subscribe. We'd love to have you as a client. We're easy to speak with. If you've had trouble with this stuff, if you think you might, listen, if your web presence isn't performing, there's some problem with
if
all
you've
of
got a
this.
nagging thing in your head and you're watching this podcast, you already know you have a problem.
Yeah, everybody already knows that their digital marketing agency isn't doing what they need them to do.
Right.
They already know their content's not bad, not good, or their website's never worked on.
Right.
They gut check feel that they could be up there, but everybody else is, and they're tired of their own negative narratives as to why they're not. You know, I get so tired of those. Like, Nolan, right? No, I never agreed with that, sir. So that's all you do, right? That's how they show up, right? No, that's not how any of that works.
That's not how any of this works.
That's absolutely incorrect. But I think that people know that. They're just at that first stage of, I know it's not right. You know, please tell me I was right. I'm like, no, it's not right.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're doing their job, right? And I'm like, well, go look at you know what I'll tell people? Go look at your site and go look at other people's sites. Does yours look like the other ones? It's like
do a search in your area, find the guy that's #1, compare his sites.
Yeah, what's the Sesame Street thing? One of these things.
One of these things is not like the other.
Not like the other. Yeah, and it's your website. And if your website is like the other, you've got duplicate or AI content.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe it just
spam.
Looks pretty, but everything else is done wrong. You
or
don't
everything
have much
else
content.
is bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't just look at it and say mine looks beautiful
the
too.
Grover technical work on, is it Who did that one? Was it
I think it's
Elmo? Grover.
No, yeah, no, it's not Elmo. Don't talk to me about Elmo.
What's wrong with Elmo?
Elmo took Grover's spot. Grover is the OG.
It's incredible. Elmo had the toy out. It was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but Grover goes back to when I was a kid 50 years ago.
But yeah,
I have strong feelings about that.
If you're confused about any of this stuff, take all the emotion out of it and put yours up there and stare at it, and then go stare at the other
content,
ones.
See how much there is,
and
look at how many pages there are.
And then we can fill in the blanks. If you got questions, we can get down in specific about what's going on and run a report. Anyway, like and subscribe. Call us when you're ready. We'd love to help. We'll see you.
Take it easy.